Part 2. Into the Fairy Realm. The world shimmered as Sophia and Mix stepped through the veil. One moment, the forest behind them was alive with familiar sounds. The next, they found themselves in a realm where time seemed to breathe differently. Towering trees with silver leaves reached toward the heavens, their branches dripping with dew that glowed like starlight. Rivers of crystal water floated above the ground, weaving slow spirals through the air while whispering soft melodies that brushed against their hearts. Sophia's eyes widened in awe. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I've heard stories, but nothing like this." Mix glanced around, trying to steady his breath. "Feels like the air itself is alive," he said quietly, running his fingers through the faint mist that shimmered in his palm. From within the glowing haze, a figure appeared, tall, graceful, and bathed in soft light. Its wings shifted colors like living rainbows, and its eyes shone with ancient wisdom. "Welcome, travelers," the being said, its voice echoing like wind through chimes. "Few mortals find their way to this place." Sophia lowered her head respectfully. "We come in peace. We seek passage through the fairy realm." The being's gaze lingered on her for a moment before shifting to Mix. Its expression softened, almost as if it sensed something in him, something it couldn't name. "The realm has accepted your presence," it said. "But tread carefully. Not all who walk here do so with pure intent." Mix nodded silently. A faint breeze stirred around him, carrying whispers that vanished as quickly as they came. He frowned, unsure if he'd imagined them. "Come," Sophia said, touching his arm gently. "We should keep moving before the veil closes." Together they followed the winding trail of light that led deeper into the realm. Strange creatures peeked through the trees, tiny winged beings with laughter like bells, and tall, shadowy figures that melted into the mist when watched too closely. The deeper they went, the more the world seemed to watch them. Every leaf turned slightly toward their path, every glimmer of light flickered when Mix drew near. He couldn't explain it, but he felt something ancient stirring inside him, a quiet pulse that called from beyond memory. Sophia noticed his silence. "You okay?" she asked softly. He nodded. "Yeah, just feels like this place knows me somehow." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe that's a good thing." Ahead, the mist thickened, and the laughter of unseen fairies echoed like music fading into the horizon. The air grew warmer, brighter, and as they stepped beyond the last line of silver trees, a grand sight unfolded before them, a valley of light and color, where floating castles and crystalline spires rose into the clouds. The fairy realm had truly awakened to their arrival. Mix took a deep breath, eyes filled with wonder and caution. Whatever lay ahead, he could feel it would change everything. The next morning, the first light of dawn crept through the silver leaves of the fairy forest. Mist coiled lazily between the roots, glowing faintly from the magic that lingered in the air. Mix woke up early, stretching as the chill brushed against his skin. Sophia was still asleep, her breathing calm and peaceful beneath a blanket of moss and light. Quietly, he stood and stepped outside their camp. The realm was unlike anything he'd ever known, alive, watching, yet somehow welcoming. He searched the nearby trees and found fruits hanging low, bright with strange colors, deep crimson, sky blue, and gold. He gathered as many as he could carry, filled a small flask with water from a stream that hummed softly, and noticed a cluster of flowers glowing faintly in the morning haze. He smiled to himself. She'll like these. When he returned, Sophia was still asleep. He crouched beside her and whispered, "Good morning, I got something for you." Sophia stirred, blinking softly as her eyes adjusted to the light. You're up early. Mix grinned and handed her the flowers. Couldn't just sit around. Figured we might need breakfast. Sophia smiled and took the flowers gently. You really found these here? Yeah, Nick said, sitting beside her. They look kinda like you. She laughed quietly, the sound warm and light. They shared the fruits he had gathered, sweet and strange in taste, and after a while they packed up and began their journey once more. As they walked through the glowing paths, Sophia looked ahead. We're almost there. The palace isn't far now. But then, from the silence of the forest, came the sharp sound of metal scraping against stone. Before they could react, 2 royal guards emerged from the mist, their armor gleaming green and gold. Halt! One of them barked. Who dares enter the Queen's forest unbidden? Mix instinctively pulled Sophia back, his heart pounding. His hand tightened around the nearest thing he could grab, a thick wooden branch lying nearby. The guards lunged forward. Mix swung the stick hard, deflecting the first blow with a loud crack. The vibration stung his arms, but he didn't falter. A second guard attacked from behind. Mix twisted, ducked, and countered with a solid strike to the man's shoulder. The forest echoed with the clash, wood against metal, breath against breath. Mix wasn't trained, but he fought like someone who refused to lose. His stick splintered at the tip, and with one last push, he struck one guard across the chest, knocking him to the ground. He raised the stick again, ready to finish the fight. Mix, stop, Sophia shouted. Her voice froze him mid-swing. The fallen guard looked up, his eyes wide with realization. Lady Sophia? Sophia stepped forward, catching her breath. Lower your weapons, she ordered. He's with me. The 2 guards looked at one another, then knelt. Forgive us, princess, the first said. We did not recognize you. Mix blinked, still holding the broken stick. Princess? Sophia sighed softly, turning to him with a nervous smile. I was going to tell you when we got there. Her Majesty awaits your return, said the guard. Please, follow us to the palace. As they walked toward the distant towers that shimmered through the mist, Mix's thoughts swirled. Princess Sophia, the fairy realm, and now royal guards. The world around him was changing faster than he could understand. He glanced at the splintered stick in his hand and muttered under his breath, "Guess this day's just getting started."